Hey everybody, welcome back to the video. In this one, we're gonna be basically learning about for loops in JavaScript. So before going into the video, I would appreciate you guys liking and subscribing the video and feel free to comment. So let's go into the topic. So basically, these for loops are used to repeat a block of code again and again and again until how many basically iterations you gave. It's basically kind of defined by user, and it's kind of like depending on statements. But there's another type of loop called while loop, which I'm gonna be posting a video on. And if you're probably seeing this in future or something, you can probably see in my channel, and it should already be there, I guess. And that's basically about for loops. It just basically repeats a block of code and defined by the user number of iterations. And this is used a lot of times in many type of code and everything and else. So in many other languages, this thing is used a lot of times. So first, let's see an example using this. So we are gonna start off with our index.js tag. And in this, I'm basically gonna have a variable. And I'm just gonna use the let, and then I'm just gonna say let, and you don't have to do this because it doesn't matter if you do this too, but if you want, you can. So let's just say let num, and then we're just not gonna define anything. We're just basically declaring this, and you don't even have to do this, okay? If you want, you can, but if you don't want, you don't have to. But you do this so that you could understand, like, okay, we declared a num right here, and for other purposes maybe, because if you want to use that and stuff. So yeah, and let's just have our for loop right here. So first, you're gonna have for right here, for, and then you're gonna have a pair of parentheses, and in this, you're basically gonna have, this is how it should work. So first, I'm gonna have my initialization, and I'm not gonna write what I have to right now, so I'm just gonna say what should we write. And then first you're gonna initialize, and so I'm just gonna say initialize or something kind of like that. And then after this, you're gonna have your condition. And okay, it just gave us a whole different thing, so let's just write a whole thing right here, and let's just put a space, and there we go. And after this, you're basically gonna have your number of iterations and what basically it should do. And that is how it should work. And then you're gonna have pairs of parentheses, and then have your code inside this. And that's basically the steps or of the diagram of how do you do this. First, you initialize, but we already initialized but we have to do it again, because this is a specific block of code. Because if you saw my variables video, we are using let right here, and that's basically a specific block of scope I explained in that video. And if you didn't check it out, if you want, you can just go check it out. And that's basically it, and that's basically the format. So let's see an example, and I'm just gonna delete that, because since we don't need that, and as I already mentioned in my already at the beginning of the video. So let's just go back to our this place, and then we're basically gonna declare right here, and I'm just gonna say let, and then I'm just gonna say something like let, and then I'm just probably just say num equals 0, which is basically our num should be 0 or our number. And then the condition should be until num is less than, I'm just gonna say 10, because it should do probably 10 times or so. And then num plus plus. What does this plus plus do? It basically increments this number by 1, which is basically by 1. So if it's 0, it's gonna go to 1, and then it's basically gonna go continue. And that's basically it. But if you want to know our number, what it does, we have to use our document dot get element by ID, and then that should be our result. I didn't create it, but I'm gonna, and inner HTML equals, I'm just gonna say no, and there we go, and that should be it. So after that, we're also gonna have something like here. So document dot get element by ID, oops, wrong one, element by ID result. And then at the end, basically after whenever the loop is done, it's gonna do this inner HTML equals, and then we're basically gonna have exit the loop, or let's just say loop is done, and to be simple. And that's basically it. What our code, I know it's so small, but normally it doesn't look like this. If you want, you can make it bigger too, but this is kind of basic one. So let's just go ahead and continue with our HTML document now. So I'm just gonna have my document HTML, HTML tag, and then I'm gonna have my body, and then I'm gonna have my paragraph, or let's just say h2 so that I want it can be bigger, h2, and then let's just say id equals, the id should be result because we already put that right there. And then I have to get the script, and there we go. Inside the script should be our source. Let's just put our source as index.js, and there we go. We are finally done with this part, so let's just open this with live server, and it should be starting right now. So let's just do loop is done. So basically it didn't give us because it's probably not printing us or something, so that is fine. We can delete this and say check if it does or not. So let's just do it. So there we go, it does work. We are getting our output as 9 because it should not be equal to 10. That's why it does it. And if you want, you can probably do 11 and it's gonna give you till 10. So we're gonna change that. But our main thing is missing inside this. It should give us from 0 to 9, right? Because it should print us all the numbers and we have to see it does work or not, right? So let's go switch our tab to this. And here we have a small tiny mistake, and that mistake is basically having just like the number like this. So let's just have plus equals the number, and there we go, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So that's how you can do it. And the reason why it's working is because it's basically adding the number to this each time, again and again and again. And instead of just adding at one time at the end number, it's basically gonna add at each time. So that's basically what it does. But if you want it to be in separate lines, you can just have your plus sign and then have a br tag in a string. It should be in a string, and then that should be it. As you go, 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. And if you want it to 11 or to be to say a 10, you can just change that, and 0 to 10. You can do that and make it print from 0 to 10, or make it appear from 0 to 10. And there are other two types of loops which I'm going to be explaining in my future videos. They're basically kind of easy if you learn this, and if you learn this, that's great. But if you didn't, you can rewatch the video and understand it, I guess. And I'll also just include one small piece here, which is not that required, but it's just kind of a piece of knowledge though. So basically we have our three things right here, right? We have our initialization, our condition, and our iteration, right? But let's just say you don't have this initialization right here. Let's just remove that. Then it is basically optional, but still you should have your semicolon right there, because without that it doesn't work, and that is optional. But what if but wait, like without initialization, how would you even write your things, right? But instead you're gonna use where, and then you're gonna basically create your num equals 0, and then that's gonna work. So let's go here, 0 1 2 3. I'm gonna spam click and reload this, and there we go, it does work. But the only thing is you have to use var because it is a scope, global scope. So yeah, that's why it does work. And what if I say you this is also optional? So this is also optional, and you can iterate inside this if you want. So that is optional, like whenever you have something like number like increasing and stuff, so that might be that time. And what if I say you this third one is also optional? And many people might think so everything is basically optional, but you're gonna have this optional like whenever you want, because first you have to increase this, right? So that's why you're basically gonna do num plus plus, and that's basically it. But I don't think so you should do this, because you shouldn't, and sometimes it just doesn't work. But normally that's optional, so these all are optional things. And that's it, what I want to say. And if you want, let's just delete this, because let's just do that. And here we can just say num plus plus. So that's basically what I wanted to say, but for some reason it just showed it in a different color. And you can do that too. And this is basically used like whenever you just want to increase a number if you don't have any condition or something kind of like that. So that's basically it. And if you want, I can just put this in the script code, and that does work too. So if you want, you can do that. But I'm just gonna show you guys. I'm just gonna put this in the script code. So let's just remove all this, copy all this, cut this, and then I'm just gonna put this in the script code because I just want to show you guys that does work in also the script code too. And let's just give our spaces right here, and then give our these things right here properly, and there we go. Let's just open up the live server, and there we go, 0 to 10 inside the script code. So that does work too. And that's it for today's video. See you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.